likes the memes. And we'll go ahead and dive right into a marketplace, certainly on the edge, and we will see just how much volatility we're going to see today. Making sure the YouTube audio is good. We had that problem last week, so we're all set. So, as always, let's not get ahead of some of the price action that we saw in the overnight session. Obviously, we had our equities markets close yesterday, but we also had a futures market open for about half a session from the beginning of Sunday open all the way into Monday midday. And then, of course, last night we got a reopening of that market leading into our morning session. So before we look at that, let's start off with the SPX expected move and talk about last week compared to this week. Now, there's been a lot of oscillation, back and forth price action, certainly higher volatility to the downside, as evident by some of the selling ranges that we have on sell-off days or bearish trend days. But when we're looking at the SPX, when we look at last week's expected move, priced in at about 135 points, the marketplace actually stayed within its expectations. We stayed within the bounds that the option market priced in earlier in the week. And what's more important is to actually see what the total price movement looked like. Now, remember, this is just measuring from Friday's close to either the highest print to the upside or the highest print to the downside, essentially trying to capture the largest range that took place from last Friday's close. And in this case, we only saw about 91 points of movement in the SPX, as we did have at least an initial bid in the first couple of sessions, and then a lot of give back and a fresh low leading into Friday's close. All in all, about 68% of the total expected range. What this tells us is some of the initial volatility pricing has been fairly accurate. And so far, the option market hasn't really seen a lot of relative risk in regards to where the expected move prices are being essentially marked for the week. And essentially, if you've been a premium seller over the past couple of weeks, as the market has had bullish and bearish movement, you've probably done fairly well, because the market really hasn't moved dramatically in one core direction. We've been a bit directionless, with weekly bounces essentially setting up the weekly higher lows. And then, of course, our most recent downside test, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So for this week, we are looking at approximately 121 points of expected movement. And remember, this was based on Friday's close. So this market was trying to price in some of the volatility for a futures market that was going to be open for a half session on Monday, along with just a 4-day session overall. I think I just lost YouTube, so I'm making sure we're still good here. Okay, that must have just been on my end. Okay, so all set. We have our levels marked, and for this week, we have our top side expected move at about 44.70, which brings us pretty much in line with last week's high side prices. And then we also have a downside level of about 42.28, which, as you can tell, brings us pretty much within shooting distance of the most recent fear low, what I often refer to as the capitulation low that occurred on January 24th this year. So this marketplace is certainly on edge, And we do have a futures market that has given us a bit more insight as to some prices that we might want to keep in line with our week moving ahead. For example, I actually saw this when Ed, one of our mods, was looking at the futures market on Monday. He posted about that 4250 level in the ES futures. And there was not only a relevant bounce occurring from this price, but there's essentially reactionary buyers starting to step up in this market. Now, as with everything, this can be either a short-lived play or something that starts up a much longer sort of relative change in sentiment and trend. But we did see overnight and into today's session, ES futures traded lower as we saw some more fear and discussion about the ongoing Russian-Ukraine situation. Those marketplaces are certainly getting hit quite heavily. We'll kind of keep the attention on the US market, but it is worth mentioning that there are some global markets seeing a lot of additional downside that isn't quite evident here. But along with that sort of lower pricing, this was a pretty thin market. You know, it was a half-day session. There wasn't a ton of participation. And while this is not necessarily one for one, usually thinner markets can trade lower without too much sort of, I would say, counter. You know, there's not a lot of counter play, and usually those markets tend to fade. They're just a little thinner overall, and usually going to see a little bit of a lower pricing model. Now, leading into today, we do have that 4250, but I also just want to call out on the ES futures that as we opened with a gap down, the market was able to repair or essentially reclaim the gap that occurred between the shorter session close, which it closed at approximately 12 p.m. And then, of course, into today's session where we not only are seeing a breakout, but we're also seeing some technical reasons as to the breakout providing opportunity for bulls. The back test, the sort of support turn resistance, the repairing of a gap down, and even more importantly, we're reclaiming what was a lower volume and sort of thinner market. We've reclaimed this entire area, and we've done it pretty aggressively. So when I look at this chart, I'm not necessarily seeing the type of fear that the news cycle and some of the, I would say, quote unquote, media wishes us to interpret. I'm not seeing in the chart quite yet. We're seeing a reactionary move off the lows, plenty of range to obviously interpret moving forward. But in terms of where we just came from and also what we've just recovered, there seems to be a bit of a difference between the sell-off continuing and where the current pricing is. So obviously today will tell. A lot of discussion in the chat as to sort of, are we bullish today? Are we bearish today? You know, what sort of mode should we be thinking in? And honestly, the call right now is still a little bit early, but I'm actually leaning a bit more to the bullish side today, not just because of our location, but also the type of, I would say, negation of certain prices that we've already seen. If the market truly wants to go into a tailspin today, then why haven't they kept us in a fear range, something that was set up on Monday's session? Why are we already seeing bullish flag type patterns? And obviously, it's unfortunate to see the price move so far so fast. Now we have to interpret if they do fade it or pull it back. But at the end of the day, can we see some stability in this upper range support, which is trying to form. And obviously the negation of the gap is the early sign. If you're a more aggressive trader, those are some early signals that you're certainly looking for. Key defense of a level, retracement size back up to, in this case, a technical gap. And then of course the breakout and continuation play that we did see. So starting off with ES futures, just so it gives us a little bit more of a picture. Now I'll switch over to the SPY, which is our more discussed item. And really the picture here hasn't changed from last week. We're still looking at a retracement line that has been a key resistance zone for pretty much every single sell swing that we've seen. We're still fighting to recover prices off of what is now a fear volatility range that was set back in late January. Now, with all this sentiment, this is more of an inflection play. If we see that type of defense today and we see the market catch a rally or just get bullish off of roughly the 425 print for the S&Ps, then we need to see continuous proof. The idea that the bulls are pretty much the ones at fault here in regards to proving whether they have the conviction to recover the market. They are the ones who are fighting relative price swings. They're also fighting volatility. And another thing that I want to call out for today is we did see a vol spike starting off this morning session. The VIX was able to clear 30, but over the past couple of attempts to clear 30, we haven't really seen a VIX close above 30. Every single attempt has been met with quote unquote resistance, just a lack of the market being able to stay above that 30 print. And what's more interesting here is that the last time we saw that was, of course, that January 24th low. There was maybe one or two sessions where we maybe just barely got above 30 and closed above 30, more importantly. So we're getting into these same relative prices, but the volatility isn't quite accelerating the same way. And once again, just bringing back discussions from a few weeks prior, looking at vol futures to understand that, yes, we are in backwardation. So burden of proof here is once again on the bulls, but some of the best signals that we've gotten for relative lows have been when volatility has spiked, usually in this case, the vol futures going into a state of backwardation, and then one or two sessions later, seeing it either go flat or actually get back into contango. These are often short-term plays, but they have marked very relative lows for the market, and they provided the momentum to carry at least the pricing back higher. So bullish perspective here, just looking at opportunity in the market. And where to focus for today, I think, is going to be on things that have the most proving to do. In this case, I'm mostly going to be looking at Nasdaq for that proof in the pudding, or the burden of proof on the bulls. Because as you can tell, the Nasdaq actually printed fresh lows. We did see a minor breach of the January 24th lows in this pre-market session. And once again, seeing a recovery at this time. So burden of proof here is on the bulls. If they're going to hold this level, today's the day. Today's the day that they need to change relative trends and actually transform what is a very clear sort of daily downtrend, of course, hourly downtrend as well. They can start to revert these trends, maybe even starting to reclaim something like VPOC, which, on these shorter term time frames, We're simply looking at relative extremes. If you're looking at a volume profile model, the edge here is to the bullish side if they can hold these prices. Otherwise, you start to see things like longer time frame volume profile models start to break down. And I've kind of marked it here showing a 4-hour and a 1-hour, which shows that we are at the extremes of these profile models. We're at lows that we really haven't seen for, in this case, over 180 days. So the Nasdaq is testing 6-month lows or 6-month prices that we haven't seen for quite a while. And this model of trying to look at a volume profile and understand where has the higher transactional value been placed in the market and where can I gain edge if I'm trying to trade into it. If I'm trying to return the market to a stable area of transaction, where is it? What time frame can I utilize to set up my edge and my risk? And then from there, obviously looking for the signals that will guide you towards that price level. So Nasdaq certainly the one to prove it today, as we're relatively weaker on the test, and then of course seeing the same reaction. So if the Nasdaq holds, the S&P might go with it. Couple of earnings plays today. We'll just briefly look at those. Home Depot did report. Go ahead and remove this study. We also have Lowe's this week, so these are often going to play together in regards to their earnings, maybe some anticipation for Lowe's that comes from the reaction of Home Depot, given just the 1-day delay. But intra or pre-market, we're getting looks like at least a breakdown. HD was pricing about a $19 or $20 move this week. With earnings coming in a Tuesday session, there's plenty of time for the market to get those prices. But starting to mark off where did the market close, in this case about 345. $20 move from that price level, you can start to mark off your weekly straddle ranges. And as we see, the market may be wanting to test the lower bound. So what it does is it gives us an idea of if the market is trending, and if we have a $20 expected move, that is a target. 345 minus 20, 325 might be a good target for the next couple of days. Does it have confluence with other things on the chart? I would argue that it is sort of a minor swing low before a breakout. That obviously looks more like a range to me. We're also coming off of a pretty important range high in Home Depot. This one was actually set back in May and then retested before a breakout. So, and people are saying that Lowe's is actually selling a little bit from Home Depot's earnings. Might also be in play, but I would certainly maybe play Home Depot today over Lowe's. Kind of depends on how well they trade intraday. We also have Macy's coming out with its earnings. Once again, just looking at the technical structure here and the idea of probability for earnings. So Macy's pricing in about a $3.50 expected move, with us closing about 25.75, getting up to 28. We're certainly seeing most of that move being accomplished, but if I look at technical structure here, we are getting above a couple of pivot highs. If it can hold in the 28 ranges, there's a chance to maybe test 28.50, and then getting up into that 30 level would be a nice sort of psychological target for a bullish trend. Without any support in this upper range, you can see that the price is really trying to sort of bull flag it out up here. Without that, a fade back into these lows, there really isn't much support from the earnings play. we might have seen a relative top for earnings. And then last but not least, a couple of ideas for the week. I'm starting to hunt for some technical value in the market. And this is usually in the form of an oversold condition for me. A lot of my edge comes as an oversold trader. I do this both on the daily time frame and on the intraday time frame. And some stocks that are starting to catch my interest, stocks like PayPal. Now, no doubt PayPal has been absolutely crushed. If we're just talking high to low, we're talking about 60 to 70% declines. And that becomes more obvious if I mark it up as a percentage. Just looking past year, we're actually down about 62% from last year's price. But looking at the here and now and starting to pull this back out in time, PayPal has some technical ranges that have formed. We've come back into them. They're sort of pre-pandemic levels. That's what a lot of people are starting to say for high flyer stocks that are being sold quite heavily, whether it be due to anticipation of interest rates or just their relative fundamentals were way too overblown. Market has certainly punished them back into these price levels. And what's so interesting is we're coming into levels that I would find higher support if we are to see a reaction from the sell-off. So PayPal is pretty obvious, psychological 100 print. The market already tested that in pre-market. We got exactly to 100. We're seeing it hold at about 102. Obviously, bullish SPY would help out with this play quite a bit, but excuse me, still suffering with a little bit of a sore throat here. Psychological print off 100, maybe that indecision type of day or just a pivoting candle. But best case scenario, if we do get bullish today, this might be a stock that actually has bottomed off or near 100. Starting to think about different strategies to play off of this one. Holding shares in this market is a bit tricky, even if you have a stop loss. Market gaps down 5%, your stock gaps down with it. Obviously, your stop loss is wherever the market opens, not necessarily where you put it. But some different strategy for the market if you're an options trader. We're talking about things like premium selling quite a bit. Looking at this option chain and even looking at something like implied volatility, which is just sort of 30-day IV marked up in a charted fashion. We're seeing some pretty good IV in this particular name, something that is a bit elevated overall and tends to kind of top out near about 60%. Obviously with COVID low kind of skewing that chart a bit. So pretty good IV in this stock. That kind of leads me into maybe selling some downside premium, working with the hopefully maybe skewed downside protection as people are still maybe protecting their portfolio or even shorting the stock outright. And then of course for a technical setup, waiting for the market to give us maybe a daily bounce, a daily engulfing, whatever it looks like, we'll obviously see today. And then using those levels to price maybe some put premium, even starting to consider the idea that if we are looking at maybe our monthly low trying to be formed over the next couple of days, this is the potential for this range to be transitioned, or essentially test the low, come into the low, put a little bit of support. This might take a few days or weeks, and then watch the stock maybe transition back to the highs. That of course is the technical setup with the right signals that can really come out quite well. And on the intraday time frame, we're seeing bounces off of 100. So can PayPal actually catch a little bit of a bullish sentiment today, with the rest of the market. That's what's up and coming. So some other stocks that you might want to watch for that are similar names that have been a bit oversold, whether they be in the sort of software as a service or maybe more specific offerings like this. You can look at almost pure sentiment plays. The likes of Block is usually a pretty good one-to-one with PayPal. If SQ catches a little bit of bullish sentiment today, maybe into its earnings, PayPal might be likely as well. Obviously, the granddaddy of oversold in terms of off of their earnings, Facebook. Everybody's waiting for this one to maybe stop selling at the moment. We're certainly seeing the potential of that. Once again, psychological prices here, 200 instead of 100. But the downside here is similar. We're talking about almost 50% from its all-time high. And then, of course, you know, depending on where you measure, we're definitely seeing a lot of new, I would say, downside pricing. So this one of interest, once again, need the bullish market. Any oversold stock today definitely need the bullish sentiment in the SPY. And some people are even asking about things like ARK. Now, say what you will, Cathie Wood has been in the spotlight for the past couple of weeks. Her funds are underperforming to a heavy degree this year. We're seeing plenty of bearish sentiment entering into pretty much every holding that is part of this particular fund. And obviously, this has given back a lot of the breakout move that has occurred ever since the COVID low and the breakout from there. But as with everything, we're looking at the here and now. We're starting to see maybe a bit of opportunity here. The more bearish sentiment I start to hear, the more contrarian I start to think. Usually when the market is pointing in one direction, that's the moment in time when the opposite occurs. Not saying that this is something you step in blindly, but you might start looking at these as potentials for weekly bottoms, daily bottoms. They need to show themselves. They need to prove themselves. The bulls have a lot of work left to do. But if these start to form, understand that this is the moment that they often reflect themselves. When everybody's looking in one direction, everybody thinks that the end is over. That's usually when the market gives you the opposite effect. That's just the contrarian sentiment versus actual pricing of the market. So be looking for these plays over the next couple days. We'll certainly see how they form this week. Maybe get us a bit of a watch list of some names to keep an eye out for. But overall, market needs to kind of lead. If we see a breakdown today, if we see that continuation of the bear flag or just the breakdown of 425, obviously a lot of this falls apart. These stocks can actually get into sort of extreme selling events. If not, and if the market is rotating back into a little bit of risk on, certainly getting back into the market as a whole, then of course this sets up the case for the technical play to work out. And I'm not necessarily saying all out bullish. Remember, strategy is probably our weekly discussion today. It'll be our weekly theme. Strategy in this market is important. We're looking at not necessarily bullish, but lack of bearish. Essentially not going down and instead going flat. Hopefully that's the theme here, to build out the range, the accumulation zone, the bottom for now, playing off of those levels, strategizing around them. And then of course, the best case scenario for the bulls is to change the trend, change the hourly, change the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, basically change the sentiment overall, get back into that bullish posture. This takes time. It usually doesn't just happen on a dime. However, looking for those levels to define risk and to define strategy. This is going to be important for this week as we see volatility continue to be elevated. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll talk more this week.
hopefully you guys are having had an incredible 3-day weekend. So good morning, and welcome, guys. Norm, how are you doing today? Good morning.
Hey, good. I'm doing well. How are you, brother?
Doing good, man. Can I complain? Doing good. Coming off a nice 3-day weekend and into an exciting week of trading. I'm sure it's going to be, especially with the way this markets have been. Give me 1 second. You might be getting an echo. I gotta turn something down here on your end. Let's see. All right, there we go. If you guys had an echo from Norm or myself, this should not be anything. Okay. All right, guys, let's get started. Let's take a look at the overall market, see what's going on there, or the way things have been. We'll look at the SPY here and just kind of see an overview of what's going on. Jared has done a pretty good job already this morning. Let's give him a thumbs up over on YouTube. But let's
For
quickly
sure.
recap what can we expect for today and this week.
Russia, Russia, Russia. And I apologize that economic calendar didn't update for whatever reason. 9 a.m. We've got the S&P Schiller Home Price Index coming out at 9. Another home price index as well. 9:45 Market Manufacturing PMI and Services PMI, and then 10 a.m. Consumer Confidence Index. So none of those are going to play into things as much as what's going on in Russia. And it's actually a little bit wild that we were down. I don't know what chart you're showing here, um, but we were down huge in the futures trading as they traded yesterday, Sunday night, Monday. And now, I mean, when I looked at it, S&P was down almost 2%. A lot of the world indices are down 2% or more, obviously, with what's going on. And SPY has essentially bounced back. I mean, down 0.25%. It's almost like being flat after that nastiness. So Q's down a little bit more than that, just over 0.5%. We'll see how the day goes as Russia is on Ukrainian soil, and I'm sure world leaders and everybody else will be talking all day about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely gonna.
bring up the futures if you would. ES. It's slash ES, like Jared has it on the screen.
Oh, I don't have that
Or is it
slash.
it's I think it's pound sign ES and DAS.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me do this correctly. Pound sign ES. I have to type it here so I don't. Here we go.
Hit your hotkeys and buy a whole lot of
Exactly. Yeah.
something. So
Exactly.
zoom out because these traded.
Oh, in the
Go
five
to
minute,
the
right?
go
Mm-hmm.
5 minute or 60 minute, something of that nature. You can see they nope keep opening out more because they traded Sunday night, and you can
Yeah.
see what happened there on the 17th. Opened around 44.50, crashed all the way down to 42.50, and now they've popped up fairly significantly. So interesting move there.
Yeah, I agree. Nice,
So
nice big pop. Again, we're not flat, but almost there, for the most
we're
part.
we're,
So,
we're working that way. It's crazy. It's
yeah,
this time around. I guess it's sell the rumor and buy the news.
exactly. Guys, let's get to it again. We will definitely be looking at the SPY and the overall market as that can affect the way some of these tickers play out here. This morning, you look at our gappers list. We are all over the place, my friends. We have tons of stuff in our gap up list in the green, and even more stuff in the red today. Right, a lot of the names that we've been looking at. I see a firm hood, lucid. I mean, neo. DKNG, Mara, some of the Bitcoin stuff's taking a hit. Just a whole lot of stuff there this morning. So we'll look at the top five on both sides. We're not going to go through everything, and then we'll take it to Norm and then the room to see what you guys like this morning. So let's get to that.
We've got some. I mean, we've got some definite overtones to what is up this morning. A couple of buyouts, couple of SPACs, both of them DWAC and a little bit lower down CFVI, both social media, internet media SPACs, and then oil and natural gas, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. For the most part, we're red today for the most part, but these got some catalysts on here. We'll take a look at. DWAG, you said DWAG was a buyout on this one here
No,
for.
DWAC's this Trump social media play.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So they are up 14%, 2.3 million. Again, very, very risky stock, guys. Look at the action today. We're going from 87 was the open all the way up to what 140, 138, and then now back to 96. I mean, I don't know how you can trade this successfully and be still be able to manage your risk properly. So be very careful. It's
Yeah, it's
definitely
very dangerous.
yeah, definitely in play, inactive. But I won't. Not even gonna put this on my list. I know I'm not gonna trade it. Just be very careful. I'm gonna put it here as a risky one because I know some people will keep throwing it out. I just want you guys to know that we looked at it. We have it here. We're aware what's happening there. I just don't know how you would trade this thing here. No shares for sure, by the way, on that one. HM HMHC. This is a clear buyout here, as you can see.
Yeah,
Up
that's buyout.
15.2. I don't think
Cash
this is
buyout.
yeah, so
Trash.
nothing's happening there, guys. DWAC, we looked at TGNA. This also
Buyout.
doesn't look healthy
It's
at all.
going private.
All
All
right, so
cash.
that's not good for us there. Macy's is up, guys. Macy's up
Earnings this
6.3,
morning.
2 million. Nice. All right, so I think this is the only time that we really look at Macy's is during earnings season. So I'll put it
Well,
on
and
here.
that's the other thing too is Macy's doesn't. Two things. Sometimes it trades well when it has
Yeah.
a good catalyst, but which obviously it does with earnings. You got high volume, a good gap, but on top of that, its ATR is a little bit lower. So as volatile as we could be today, it might be the easier, safer play.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree 100% with that. I like the daily too, guys. We're sitting here at an area of resistance. We tested this morning the pre-market high. It's just kind of slightly above that. So it has a good daily. Let's see how strong this catalyst for them is going to be today. Again, with a lot, I think a lot's going to depend on the market too. I think stocks that probably want to push higher, if the market starts to sell off, are going to have a tough time to get that going. We had just one ticker slip in here, MT. OR. Oh, horrible. Let's get rid of that. That's a buyout, whatever it is. Nothing good there. Heading down to CF, we looked at earlier. Also doesn't look great, guys. I mean, just look at this pre-market action. I mean, look at the daily as well. It's just not something you want to be involved with. MRO this morning does not look great. Up 4.3. Horrible pre-market activity. Even though they have 953,000, it's just not looking great. Let's look at Oxy. I know I'm definitely gonna watch Oxy just to keep an eye on all the oil type plays. I think this is the better one out of all the ones that you have. I know a lot of you guys like XOM. You can look at that one as well. I'm gonna keep Oxy for now, and at the moment, looking okay. We'll see after market open how this one is going to trade here. All right, we'll stop here. Let's take a look at what's gapping down this morning, guys. KPTI is down 21%, 780,000 shares traded. So nice big drop for them here today. For the most part, not the best intraday trading stock. Had a good day on this would have been Friday. Good day on Friday. It's just giving some back this morning. So news on this pre-market? Nope, no.
Yeah, they
no
have some
earnings.
leadership changes.
Oh, okay, here we go. When the float on this, we're looking at 65 million, so not a low float. KPTI, I'm gonna put as a possible, guys. I like the pre-market action, but the daily is not great, so we'll keep it as a possible for now. OZON, excuse me, Ozone, or however you want to call this.
So this and a
Down
couple others,
11.5.
including YNDX, are, if not completely Russia related, mostly involved in Russia. This is a retailer. While based in Cyprus, I believe the majority, if not all, their sales are in Russia, so they're getting hit.
Yeah, foreign stock here, guys. I just don't like the way this ticker looks. Very low on volume. I know that it could be in place today, but this is not something I'm going to be trading. I just don't like the way it looks at all. As far as to take any intraday trades on YNDX, on the other hand, not typically a great trading stock, but they look a lot better than
Same story.
Yeah, than OZON does. So if you want to trade that story, you can look at YNDX. Definitely a better trading stock. We've seen this in the past be on our gappers list. This is one to keep an eye on. I'll put it as a possible for now on YNDX. Again, also another foreign stock, so be very careful. And this thing can move, guys. Actually, should really be on next to DWAC on a risky pile if you're even going to have it on your list. Here is Billy. This morning, they are down 7.6. So Billy taking a hit here. 252,000 shares traded. Okay, pre-market wise. I mean, we need to give them a little bit of time. they can trade very well after the bell. We'll have to see how that plays out. Here's Riot. So as we know, guys, all Bitcoin stuff is down, taking a big hit today. Let's take a look at Riot for the most part. Let's see Mara. I don't know if this is going to allow them to trade a little bit better. Maybe, but I'm still not convinced they are the best intraday trading stocks right now. So I'm going to put Mara as a possible. We'll wait closer to 9:30, see if there's any opportunities there for us. I just have not liked the way they've been trading, as I told you guys in the past there. Futu this morning, down 4.5, 292,000. Nothing really explosive on here. And then the list, guys, goes on and on and on here. So I'm not going to go through all of these. We got some of our favorite names are down here. I'm sure you guys are going to call out. For example, Bob is here. Maybe we can look at Bob and see how everything gets affected there. But again, still not, I don't think it looks great. And you're going to see a lot of that today with the way the market has been. A lot of stuff gapping down that is not really in play. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to find the ones that are worth watching, right? So it might be one of those days where we have to be very picky on what we put on this list here. And as you can see, I only have Macy and Oxy on my main list. Norm, what do you like so far on your end?
I don't usually do this, but I'm going to throw out 3 to you. Number 1, Courtney already mentioned it right there. Nat gas is huge in play with what's going on in Russia. DVN is a nat gas
DVN
play.
Yeah,
DVN. It's on our gappers, but you didn't go down that far.
Okay.
So it not anything special in pre-market, but it will probably trade pretty well once we open. Of course, Facebook has absolutely demolished. I mean, hell, it's almost been cut in half. Not quite, but it's almost in half from its high last summer.
Yeah.
And every day I'm watching this to see when people are going to come try to scoop this up for a little value play, but it's not there yet. So we'll see. Facebook and then Nvidia.
Yep, Nvidia's been so great, man.
Already traded 2.5 million shares this morning. That is that's a lot.
That's on the higher end, guys, for Nvidia.
I think there's some block trades in there because I'm not seeing all that volume in the chart, but it's still heavy volume. Still good. And the pre-market action price, the price action in the pre-market looks good as well. So Nvidia's been real nice to trade, and it's been trading decent too at the bell. After the market open, you see Nvidia do some pretty cool stuff. All right, let's take it to the room, guys. See what you guys like this morning. We'll start here with Alfredo. You're giving us Roku. Roku had earnings last week, right? Did not do very well. As you can see here, huge drop for them. I see what you're looking at. A possible, play here towards the upside. They're pretty much flat right now. Not a whole lot of volume, but I do like Roku maybe not for today, but for the next coming days, we will be keeping an eye on Roku. To see if it can trade, closing this gap and trade a little bit better, right? Hasn't been trading well before this gap down, but we'll see. I think it looks decent for, again, not for today, but maybe later this week. All right, let's see what's going on here. I lost my spot. AMD, let's take a look at that. AMD, for the most part, 1 million shares traded. Definitely some volume here. I have NVIDIA here, which I prefer a little bit better. I'll put AMD. We can fine tune this as we get closer to our 9:30 time frame. Here is Tesla. AMD did have an upgrade this morning.
What did they get upgraded to? Just curious.
Bernstein from market perform to outperform 150 price target.
All right, nice. All right, so that's playing nice for them this morning. There again, I know the move doesn't show a lot, right? They're not even up 1%, but if you look at where they started here this morning, and again, some of this could be the market, but they moved up quite a bit so far since the lows of the pre-markets today. So AMD, good volume, 1 million shares traded. The fact that they have a catalyst and an upgrade, that is nice there. Tesla, guys, we just looked at. Again, I don't see anything explosive on it. Day looks interesting here, but I don't see anything great on Tesla right now. We'll take a quick look at NIO. I know NIO's on the gap down list as well.
Pick any other electric car manufacturer pretty much, and you got a story. There's some issues with China, concerns over China being China, and this Ukraine deal doesn't help it either. So
and even looking at NIO, again, more of a possible for now. Again, a lot of these are just uncertainty right now is causing a lot of sideways action, right? So we'll have to wait market open, see how things are going to be. I'm sure many people are going to be doing the same, right? Nvidia we have on deck, guys. That's looking very good this morning. AA, what is AA?
Alcoa, aluminum.
I never traded this one before, but it doesn't look great
Brian
right now.
trades it a lot.
Who does?
Brian.
Brian? Okay. Again, I won't have it on my list. This doesn't look like my style of trading here, Courtney. But again, I see you have this one for a possible play based on what happened. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see what goes on there. PLTR this morning, they are down 2.8, 1.8 million shares traded. They have not been having fun, guys. Look at this drop that they're getting here the last couple of days. Hit or miss. We have so much this morning, guys. I'm gonna add this one, and we might need to stop here. We just have way too much to watch today. Baba, I do like. I have that on deck already. Neo, we'll see what it does. We have it as a possible as well. SoFi, Allen, and we will stop shortly here. SoFi today. No. Again, very similar to a lot of other stocks right now. I don't see anything that stakes this one out above and beyond the other ones that I have here. So I'm just gonna skip on that one. But you can replace that one with anything else that that I have on my list, right? So if something looks better for you for SoFi, you can add that on your list. For me, I'd rather keep something else other than that ticker. All right, let's look at YouTube, guys. What do you guys have on your end? I'm gonna go over anything but we have not looked at already, guys. If it's already on here, we're gonna take a second look at it, so you don't have to throw it out. But I see a couple of you guys also looking at AMD and upgrade. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Joseph. Thank you. And PayPal here. Let's take a look there. PayPal this morning. PayPal. I don't think they're really necessarily in play. Their daily's just been getting crushed here, guys. I mean, that is exciting there. This drop that you're getting on the daily, right? So just see that happening there. The gap down to 130, then all the way to 102. I mean, it's just has not been having fun. But at the moment, I don't see anything great right now. HD earnings. Let's see. Home Depot, right? Home Depot
Trades terribly.
Yeah, it really does. 114,000 earnings. When was earnings today?
This morning, yeah.
This morning pre-market. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could watch it. I prefer to watch something else. It doesn't trade very well, as Norm just mentioned. DWAC we do have. My list is long, so you don't see it, but it is down here. If I delete some rows, there it is. DWAC. Again, guys, definitely in play. Risky. Be very, very careful. Just look at the price action on that thing. The high was like 100 and what, 40, almost to 87. Right now we're back down to 96. So this thing, it's very, very risky. Be very, very careful. No shares for Shortwave Interactive Brokers as well. So again, just be mindful of that. All right, guys, we have a lot on this list and a lot that doesn't look, great just yet. I think we need to wait a little bit longer into the market, get closer to the market open, and see how things are going to continue to develop here. But as we mentioned before, eyes on the SPY. I think the big story today is going to determine a lot on how things are going to play out and how this overall market is going to move. So with that said, let's look at our community events and announcements that we got coming up for this week. I just want to make sure I loaded the new announcements. Just want to make sure I have them here in our profile. So just give me 1 second, guys, as I check this here. This is what we'll do. I'll put the first one because I know the first one's usually general for the entire week, and then I'll check to make sure we have the latest and greatest.
All right, guys, quick weekly rundown. It's Tuesday, but it's still the first day of the week. So I'll just do Tuesday through Friday. Tuesday, we've got trade reviews with Eamon at noon, success webinars 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, psychology 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, Thursday mentorship. You've got Andrew at 11. Ed at 4:30, except it's earnings season. So if there's any good earnings, he'll be on the room at 4 o'clock. And then Thor at 8 p.m. on Thursday. Don't forget about the new trader Q&A on Thursday as well, 1 o'clock with John, and then crypto with Jared at 11. All right, let's see here. Onboarding. It's usually on Mondays. Tonight it is gonna happen at 7 o'clock Eastern tonight.
Yeah, keeping the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight in the classroom, guys. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So in the classroom. See you there. Technology next week is Ed, 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Going to talk about journaling. All right. Tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern, special time because of his time zone. You've got Eamon talking about breakouts. And then next week, Peter, 8 p.m. Eastern, the normal time. Charge up your trading using his lightning bolt pattern, which I can never get out of my head. The famous YouTube LARPing lightning bolt video from 2002. If you haven't seen it, go search on YouTube lightning bolt LARP. It's excellent. Well worth your time. Then tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Credo, we'll be talking about fear of taking or holding a trade. And then next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, Dr. Kenneth Reed talking about how to avoid the trading trance. As I mentioned, Thursday mentorship, 11 with Andrew, 4 or 4:30 with Ed, 8 p.m. Eastern with Thor. If you have not yet checked it out, go to stocktradingsimulator.com where you can use our new free web-based, you don't have to download anything, replay simulator. And if you'd like, while you're there, you can type in your email to get homework assignments to go back and trade trades that our mentors pick out. If you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can go to bearbulltraders.com, scroll down about halfway down the page, click on that test drive now button, fill that out, use the promo code premarket24. It'll give you a discount. It is a one-time payment. It does not recur. $24, 7 days in the chat room, 5 calendar days, 5 trading days in there, and still have the Valentine's sale, 50% off the Elite Annual Membership, which will give you access to all of the webinars I was just describing.
All right, thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list here and see how we can fine tune this a little bit better. So far, I have Macy's again. They have their own catalyst going on today, looking pretty good pre-market. Great volume, 2.2 million. We have Oxy here, just looking at the overall oil sector and see how that's going to react. This is more of a play after the bell, after the market opens. So I'm probably going to move this one down. And then depending how things are going, I can always move it up. So I'm going to move this down to secondary list. DVN, also same thing here. This will be depending on news as well with all the stuff going on in Russia. So we'll put this down as well. I'm going to remove that from my main list. Again, it's not a lot that looks great here. I do like Facebook quite a bit, guys. Look at the drop on Facebook this morning. 190. I mean, wow. As Don was mentioning, this thing just cut in half here almost. It is just taking a bloodbath.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I would take that out. I wouldn't even consider that 190. 199.78 really is about the low. That is that opening candle on not much volume. Yeah. Right when things open, people freaking out. You know, the same thing with the SPY. Everybody, I guess. Maybe either still drunk from the night before and terrified they're going to lose all their money because there are Russians in Ukraine.
Yep. Agree 100%. So we'll see where that goes, guys. Again, great chart to hear. It's just so much weakness on Facebook, trying to find some kind of support eventually. Nvidia, guys, great volume, great pre-market action. I'll keep that on here. AMD is decent. I do like their move up this morning. They got an upgrade, so worth watching. Then everything else is more potential here, guys. These two, based on how the market is going to be. I have NEO based on how, again, everything's a lot based on how the market is going to be today. So I'm going to be sitting on my hands quite a bit to see which way the SPY wants to go. I would not be going against the SPY today unless it's Macy's squeezing up for whatever reason. They're up 6.3. But yeah, that's going to be the type of day that is going to be a pretty easy gappers list. And then everything else on here, I'm not going to spend too much time on, but there are some opportunities like YNDX if you like that one. This one seems to have great volume, nice gap down today, trying to recover. So yeah, we have a few on here. Actually, wait to May. Let's fine tune this a little bit. PLTR, we'll keep that on. Baba, I like Baba. We'll keep that there. Mara, you know what? I'm just gonna remove it because it's just based on how it's been, it has not been great. Billy could be good. Man, Billy back at $31. Unreal. This thing was trading well above the hundreds here. Back at $31. That is just insane. So we'll see where it goes. It needs more volume for sure. They tend to get the volume after the bell. YNDX, I think, looks exciting. KPTI, I like the drop here. I don't like the daily as much, and I think this one can be rather choppy. So I'm going to remove it from my list. Roku, hit or miss on this one. I think we'll be keeping our eyes on Roku later down the line here. I'm going to remove it for today. But if anybody sees something, say something on that one. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be watching it. Here's Neo. We'll keep Neo, just one of the EVs on here. We'll keep Oxy and DVN. I'm going to remove, but you guys can watch this one and call something out on that. So that's it. That's our list there. I like Macy's, Facebook, NVIDIA, and AMD. These seem to be moving rather well this morning, despite what's happening with the overall market, right? Everything else kind of moving with the Russian news and things like that. So let's do levels here, guys. We'll start with Macy's this morning, up nicely here, 6.1, good volume. High of the pre-market, 28.10. Daily looks very nice, trying to break out and stay above this area we have here, which I'm going to mark, by the way, because clearly on the daily you can see how much resistance we have around 27.21. So that's a good level there. Above the 28.09, if we're able to break out of that, this daily gets a little bit crazy here, but I'll put 29.18. Got a couple of days. Not a huge level like this one. I love this level here, guys, that we're trying to hopefully break out of this 28.09. We tested already this morning as our pre-market high, but you can see how many times we try to get above this and we're not able to in a few areas. Oops, here, tons of space here and here as well. So that's a good level to keep an eye on there, on that 28.09, which is our high of our pre-market. Towards the bottom, I like the stock more towards the top. I don't want it coming into this congested area. I think here it just gets very choppy, too much going on. I would love this for a breakout if we can get it. But if you're looking for a short opportunity, there is some good levels here, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. And if we were for some reason to completely collapse here, we have 23.81 and we have it all the way down here at 22.62 as well. I don't think Macy's can move that much like that, but if it's going to do it today, it can be the day. All right, let's take a look at Facebook, guys. I removed the levels by mistake. Put it on here, 200, 199, a good level there. As Norm mentioned earlier, towards the top, guys, plenty of stuff going on here. I think we really need to see how this thing is going to open up today. Good volume, 573 for Facebook is not bad, given what has been happening here. We'll see where this goes, guys. Just taking a huge beating after beating on Facebook there. Here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA's daily, man. I know if you look at the daily, you'd be like, wow, this stock has not been trading well. But if you look into the details, man, this stock has been really nice. Intraday action has been really good to take advantage of. 225 is the low of the pre-market there. That low of the pre-market does have a couple of touches on here. Not great, but you have some stuff happening there towards the bottom. 213.
Is anybody watching CNBC by chance right now? Is Kramer talking about NVIDIA? It started popping just a minute ago and got some more order flow. I was watching it. I'm actually longing it from 231. So
nice. Hopefully he is, because he tends to get things riled up early in the morning. 233.21, also high of the pre-market here, looking very good there. So we'll see, guys. NVIDIA, real nice. Been trading very well. Really like that stock. Here's AMD, guys. For AMD, I mean, you don't need to mark anything. You're pretty much stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So I don't think you need to really do anything on here. If you were to break out, maybe a level towards the top, we'll add just one, and I think very good there. Maybe this one, 119.64, might be 120. Just add that one on there. But outside of that, I mean, you have plenty of levels from the most recent daily candles there. So you're all set. All right, guys, that's the list right now. I know it's a lot on here, but this is the list that looks a little bit better than most of the stuff that we have. Oxy, Neo, these are all great possibles. I think they can trade very well. We just need to be patient and wait for the market open and see what the market is going to be like here. Baba, you know, I like Baba actually. I'm gonna move Baba up. I like it because of the daily. Showing some real good weakness here. And this stock, shorting this stock, I don't know. I had a lot of success shorting it for some reason. It trades very well towards the downside. I don't know why, but it just seems that way. I'm sure if I run the numbers, I could be off. Just kind of going with what we have done more often than not, I guess. Couple of levels here, 112, low of the pre-market, and you have 109. And then you also have this one in here, guys. It's going to be 115.86. Couple of days bouncing off of that there. So we'll see where this goes. Volume is picking up here. As you can see, the pre-market action getting a little bit better after 8 a.m. today on Baba. We'll see how this is going to play out this morning. All right, excellent, guys. That is what we have. We'll wait for some moderators to throw out some of the stuff they're looking at this morning and what they like. I see Dima is already out with her watch list. And she has Apple. I have everything she has except Apple. So let's take a look at Apple there. And yeah, Apple's good, guys. You can definitely watch Apple. I'm going to add as a possible as well. Good company to keep an overall eye on. 2.1 million shares traded. So they got heavy volume too, like NVIDIA. But yeah, worth keeping an eye on this one as well. I don't think they have their own catalyst. I think it's just more of a market movement. Also, as you saw, we dropped quite a bit here. A lot of stocks showing this one giant candle here, and then just kind of recovering for the most part here on Apple this morning. All right, I see you guys are throwing out some more tickets. We can look at CSCO. Let's take a look there. CSCO. No, man. This is such a tough ticker to trade on top of that, too. I don't see anything explosive on this. I mean, they had a decent day on Friday, it looks like, from 55 to 57. That's a nice pop for them. But for the most part, man, this is just a very, very tough ticker. They have earnings today, pre-market earnings, right? The 22nd. So, yeah, it's just I don't see this great right now, but you can keep an eye on this one for sure. Again, my thoughts on this one, Fabio, it's just it's based on how it has traded in the past when it is in play. So it could be brutal at times.
Their earnings were last week.
Last week, what I have February? Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. I'm looking at Home Depot here. This is Home Depot, not Cisco. So yeah, so even more reason not to keep this thing on deck here, guys. Earnings were the 16th, so apologies for that. Right, that's not good. YNDX, Robin. Yeah, I have YNDX here actually as a possible. I think this you can catch a very nice move on this. It's just you got to be careful, man. This thing is risky, and I don't like the price action for the most part. Today's a little bit different. They got great volume today. They have a nice gap down, so they could be heavily in play. I'm just not a fan of this stock at all, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see if we can get any good opportunities out of here. My list today is going to be very small, guys. Very small. I mean, I added just Baba here, but this is all I'm keeping. And then anything on the possibles list is really depending how the market is going to move overall this morning. All right, Peter's got his list out. Tiffany's got her list. We'll take a look at anything else. Can we check out Ford? Yeah, we can check out Ford. What's going on with Ford? Yeah, I don't see anything happening on this thing. I mean, we had some noise on Friday, if you guys remember that. We popped up to 1850, but again, we're just right back down here. Just for intraday trades, I don't know, man. Volume very light this morning too. Only 773,000. That's extremely light for Ford. So I for intraday trades, I think the fun, again, like I mentioned before, I think it's over. Look at the daily, right? Look at the moves we were getting here from early November, late October, maybe. Actually, no. If you go back, we got some decent moves in October as well. Look how this one all started. Look how great this was trading, right? And then the volume had not really kicked in into November. Then volume really kicked in, and then you really started getting some serious moves here. Even in the consolidation in here, you had some really good moves. I was still not paying attention to this until right around here. And by then it was like, okay, it's just madness, right? Especially here when it was trying to break out of 25. It did break out, then back down. So I think we're back into just regular trading on it. But it all depends on your style. This style could be great for you. This style for me is not great. So I'm going to keep this one off the list for now. CPE. What is CPE? We have not looked at that one today. CPE. Oh, no. Up 4.2. Barely any volume here. Only 22,000. And look at this daily. Look how choppy this is. Every candle overlapping the previous candle. What is this?
It's an oil company.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Today, oil is in play, guys. Obviously, it's a lot going on there. But there's better tickers out there to watch. Oxy is one of them. Even XOM, I think, is better than the one we just saw by far. XOM is much, much better. So again, there's options out there. If you do like CPE, Chet, I think they are in play today. I think you're going to see some movement here, depending how things go. But you have options. If you could look at that, but you also have options. You have XOM, you have Oxy, you have some pretty good ones you can take a look at. AMC, what do we have here? Light on the volume on AMC right now. I don't see anything great on AMC at the moment. Just overall market movement on it. So we'll keep it off the list for now. Chris MC, took 2 months to move $2. You must be talking about Ford. Hey, $2 on Ford, dude. Hey, that's Lamborghini money. You know, that's yeah.
I don't know why Ford is on Peter's list. Maybe he can tell us if he's not away from his computer.
Yeah, we'll wait for it to explain. It was a typo. I think he was trying to type Facebook twice.
I think he was trying to type "fu" to me.
"Fu" to you. So AMC, yeah, no good there. Not no good. It's just I don't see anything great on it, and the volume is very light for the way that stock trades. Nora XOM is good. I think XOM is actually pretty decent today. Nice pop this morning, decent volume. Yeah, XOM is actually looking better than Oxy this morning, to be honest. So yeah.
So Peter put it on his list just so it won't move.
So it won't move?
And I guess it has an upgrade. I mean, when he doesn't watch it, it does something. Oh. So it's preventative. So I guess he's putting it on his list so we don't watch it. Okay. Gotcha.
Sounds like a plan. All right, more moderators coming out with their list. We'll look at that in a second. And guys over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. We love to be that 250, 300 mark, sitting at 160 now. Thank you for those that have already taken the 2 seconds to do that. If you haven't, please do so. We appreciate it very, very much. All right, guys, it's gonna be an interesting market. Again, all eyes on the SPY, really, which has a very interesting morning, by the way. I mean, drop down here, as Nor mentioned, recovering now, pretty much flat and green in some areas here. And if you look at this, you know, it looks like it wants to go green. It looks like it wants to pop up here. So we'll see. We keep pushing up against that previous day close line. We'll see how this is going to turn out today. It's definitely going to be an exciting week, given all that's going on with overseas and stuff like that. So looking forward to see how this market is going to react. What else we have, guys? Gold. You can look at gold today. DKNG. I saw that actually being thrown out in both chats. Let's take a look here. DKNG this morning. A big drop on Friday, guys. Huge drop. Actually, I remember Peter trading this. I'm not Peter, so excuse me, Brian. Brian caught a nice short on DKNG on Friday, and today. You know what? It could be interesting today, man. It could. DKNG could be interesting.
Let's do. We got plenty on our list. Let's do questions for a couple minutes.
Yeah, we could. Any questions, guys?
Anybody got any questions? YouTube.
That you guys can answer.
The room.
We're done slightly early
Pretty
today.
Much wrapped up. I mean, if anybody sees anything really great, throw it out there. But if it doesn't have volume, doesn't have a gap, and not moving, then let's.
This is a great question here, Carlos. You think a market crash is likely? I have no clue, man. No clue. But I tell you,
I would say any given time likely would be a no. Is it possible? Of course. Yeah. But I mean, the concerning thing is we've lost a good amount with like no panic. So if something happened, I mean, we're down from 480 on SPY to 425 overnight. You know, that's a good chunk of losses, and it's been with almost no panic. So if something happens and there is a panic, what would also panic mean to me? I mean, the VIX spiking high.
Yeah.
What's the highest we've been on the VIX in the last few weeks? It isn't much, I'll tell you that. 30s.
Yeah, it's nothing. That's nothing compared to what
we've seen. Beginning of COVID, when the market crashed, it was 80s. So
yeah.
Stocks ATR, the easy freeway is FinViz.
Yeah. Here's the thing on that. To add to that as well about the market, guys, go back and look at the history. Any market crash has been something very, very big and significant, right? So we're not there yet. We're not there. We could be next week. You know, at the end of this week, who knows?
And it's just my opinion. on if the market's going to crash. Way too many people are thinking the market's going to crash.
I know.
If you
Everybody's
go back
buying.
and you look at the time, if you go back and you look at when the market's crashed, yes, you can always pick out people in retrospect that had some idea about the financial meltdown, but
Right.
it wasn't your normal everyday person thinking about it.
Right. Right.
It
It's
was
things
it
that
was a
hit
few
unexpectedly.
outliers that people made fun of, and
Yeah.
you know that in retrospect look like geniuses.
Right. Right. I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there. Again, my personal opinion, guys. Again, war's a whole different story now. You know, that thing takes off over there, that could change the way things happen,
Yeah.
right? So we'll see. We'll see.
I don't personally think so, but
I don't
just
I don't
me.
think so, but we'll see. Politics, man, this sometimes could be very interesting, to say the least. And that's about all we'll say on politics.
How do you guys modify? And I apologize. Questions are coming in, and I'm doing what I can to get to what we can in the little time we have. Last one.
Yeah.
How do you guys modify your trading approach in an indecisive market? Are you watching the SPY? Yeah, I mean, we always watch the SPY because it's harder to get the move if you're going against the general market, unless something's super in play.
Yeah.
But you know, while I don't know that the market has necessarily been indecisive. I mean, I think we've decisively moved down overall in the market for the last several weeks. Market's changed a little bit. It's trading vastly different than it was a few weeks ago, even. But you know, we still have a ton of volatility and a ton of stocks in play. So
Yeah. Daniel has one here. We'll do one more here. How do you determine your hypothesis when picking a stock to watch? Kind of what we've been doing in the morning, right? Kind of looking at the volume, looking if it has a catalyst, looking at the daily, see what we have going on there. And also we keep in mind, you know, if a stock trades well in the past. For example, NVIDIA has been trading very well in the past. Mara is an example where that one has not been trading well in the past. So even though it's gapping down here and Bitcoin is down, this is one I'm not going to watch based on that information as well, right? So every morning, man, if you log in every morning with us at 8 a.m., you'll get the sense for what we're trying to do and what we're trying to pick based on the information we have on hand. All right, guys, before we get out of here, let's get to our moderators lineup. Let me go ahead and resize this over here for you guys, and then we'll hand it over to Brian and Andrew, which will be trading live this morning. Let's take a look here at Eamon. Potential shorts today, Bank of America, probably not going to be trading, not seeing anything with a clear direction. Dima is looking at Macy's, Facebook, AMD, and Apple. Peter, no IPOs, no SPACs for today. Peter, looking at AMD, Facebook, Macy's, and then also secondary list, NVIDIA, YNDX, and Ford. Tiffany's looking at AMD, NVIDIA, and Macy's. Jared looking at PayPal, DWAC, and Facebook. Secondary list, Energy, NVIDIA, and a PPL. I'm not sure what that is. Susan looking at NVIDIA, AMD.
probably PayPal.
That's what I thought so too. No, it's different.
No, he's got PayPal up top.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm not sure what PPL. We'll look at that in a second.
PPL is a utility company. So
okay.
Maybe it is the actual ticker.
Yep. Susan looking at NVIDIA, AMD, secondary list, Facebook, Baba, Oxy, Macy's, and Lucid. Megan is looking at Facebook and FSLY, and Thor, so far, Macy's, Microsoft, and AMD this morning. So, all right, guys, that is what we have. We'll let you go now. It is Tuesday. Remember, our boarding class, we did not have it yesterday. We will be having it tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so don't miss that. We will see you guys in the classroom for the onboarding class. If you haven't signed up over on YouTube, you can do so already and join us tonight. So take care, guys, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.